it's Hazel Jarvis again. It's week 3 of our unit on interiors, and today we are going to look at bedrooms and also bedrooms that serve as studios. So here's our inspiration photo of Matisse in bed, and here's my little rough sketch. So I've done my rough sketch, and now I'm going to do a light pencil sketch on my watercolor paper. I start with Matisse's head, very faint, which is basically just an egg. His head and shoulders. I'm going to put in the bed behind him. I'm going to put in the mirror. And I'm just going to go around and block out some of the faces on the walls. And this is super pale. You won't be able to really see it, and that's how pale I want you to do it. I want a really light, loose look to this picture, so I'm going to erase most of my pencil lines now. A nice apricot shade for the walls, so I'm doing my orange 33 with a little bit of white in, and I mix up quite a lot of wash. I'm going to paint around the faces and around the bed and put in the back wall. I'll put a tiny touch more orange in the mix, and I'm going to paint in this side wall over here. While my wall is drying, I'm going to paint in Matisse's head and his hands. And his head is basically a very, very pale egg shape. And that's burnt sienna with a tiny touch of yellow ochre mixed in. And we'll put in the hand that's holding the piece of paper, and the suggestion of the hand that's doing the cutting. So last week we looked at collaging the figures on, and you might be saying, well, wait a second, Hazel, why can't I do the same thing with this? And indeed you can. You're going to paint just this very pale egg-shaped oval for his head. You're going to paint in the hands, just like that. And you can paint this just on very thin paper and cut it out and glue it on. That's a very viable alternative. In the photograph that we're using as a reference, Matisse has a bedside lamp here. So this side of his face is in light and this side of his face is in shadow, this side. You want to be sure that the face is completely dry because you want a fairly sharp line. And starting down the middle, you're going to paint in the shadow. So down the face, go sideways for the shadow cast by the nose, sort of in and out, leave a gap for the mouth, and a little bit under the lip, and then you'll just fill that side in. So one side of the face is in shadow, and you'll put in this part of the hand also in shadow, and maybe this part. And again, you're going to let those dry. So on our collage sample 2, if our painting doesn't work, the same thing. You mix in this light wash going down the face, one side in shadow. And a little bit of shadow on the hands, and a little, just the suggestion of an eye on that side. The eye on this side, so I'll just put it in right now. Let those dry. While Matisse's face is drying, we can put in his cardigan. So it's a nice dark green, it's a V-neck, and we can paint around the piece of paper that he's cutting out. And it's just a very simple shape. He's cutting out a piece of paper, so we're going to leave the white of the paper. And even though Matisse is in bed, he's still dressed for work, so we're going to put in the little tie that he's wearing. He's so charming that he's dressed for work, and maybe the suggestion of the shirt too. Once the face is dry, you're going to put in a little bit of hair on either side, like so. Under the nose, you're going to put in the moustache, a little bit of a beard, and then being very brave with a fine point on your brush, you're going to put on the glasses. So that's a circle and a circle, bridge over the nose, and just the suggestion of the eye. Now, no judgment. If you decide you want to do the collage instead, on your scrap paper, you put on the hair, you put on a little bit of a moustache, you put on the beard, you put on the glasses, over the nose, and the eye, and there we have Matisse. Now, because I'm a paranoid person, I'm actually going to do 3 little substitute collage Matisses just in case I mess up the real one and I need them later on. No shame, no judgment. So 3 potential Matisses just in case. You never know. So we'll continue working with the background now. We'll put the frame around the mirror. We'll put in the dark bedstand, or the dark back of the bed, I should say, the headboard. Again, taking care not to cut Matisse off at the neck, but just pushing it just a little bit higher. Now we're going to add the radio at his bedside. It's going to look like that. We're going to start to put in the chest of drawers and the boxes, etc., all the paraphernalia on the other side. And there's what looks like a little bureau with a roll-top desk or a roll-top stand over here. And the radio is on a small table over here. We have the suggestion of some sheets over here, or another pillow that Matisse may be propping himself up on. And then he's working on a little red tray. So here is the tray table that he's using. And we're going to leave lots of white space as if there's paper on it waiting to be cut up. While we wait for this area to dry, we can put in some of the reflected colours in the mirror. So probably there's a little bit of the wall reflected. And we'll use that same colour for the panel of the radio. We'll imagine that there is a little bit of blue sky showing, reflected in the mirror. So Matisse is cutting out these paper cuts, so we'll pretend that here's one coming out already, and we'll put a few more on the bed as if they're already cut out. We've got these lovely organic sort of seaweedy shapes. We know that Matisse collected textiles, so we'll put in sort of some green drapery in the back that's reflected in the mirror over here. And a couple more of these gorgeous gouache organic shapes. We'll add some dimension to the radio. We'll put in a little bit of the dark side over here and a little bit of dark underneath the table that the radio is resting on. We'll add some dimension to the radio. We'll put in a little bit of the dark side over here and a little bit of dark underneath the table that the radio is resting on. Oops, this is still a bit wet. We'll put in some dark over here too. We'll make the bedspread on the bed a lovely sunny yellow. I love this yellow colour, so we'll just paint that in. So we are actually nearly finished. We are going to put the faces in at the back. So I do eyebrows, eyes, a nose coming down, lips, and then just as Matisse did, sort of a face, half a face. So eyebrows, nose coming down, lips, and the face. We'll put in the bedside lamp that's casting the shadow on Matisse's face. And we'll finish the little radio. We'll give it a couple of knobs. And the mesh on the front. We'll put some scissors in Matisse's hand. So here are the blades and here are the scissors. We'll put some trim on the mirror frame. And I'm just going to crisp up this wall line too. With that same colour, I'm going to put some pattern on the fabric seen in the mirror. In the shadows here, we'll put a little bit of browny lavender. And again, under the table. And to complete the picture, we'll put in this magnificent bedstead. Now, I like Matisse as he is, but if I wasn't pleased, I would simply cut out one of my collage pieces and just glue him on. And there he is. He's ready to create another masterpiece. So I hope you've enjoyed this little glimpse into Matisse creating his paper cuts in bed, and I hope you'll all get creating too, whether or not it be at the dining room table, in your favourite chair or in bed, and I can't wait to see what you do.